Hey guys, how's it going? Josh Hvaal here. So, the guys over at Hot Tracks have asked me to do a bit of a walkthrough on my most recent release that come out with them called What You Need. So, this record is about 2.5, 3 years old. I thought I'd spend a little bit of time and go through how I made the record and stuff like that. But it's actually quite a basic track, to be honest. There's only about 15 channels or something, but I'll talk you through it and then hopefully you can gain something from it. Then guys, we'll dive straight in. So as you can see from this track, there's actually not a lot to it. You know, there's less than 15 channels, but I'll run you through a few of the components and a couple of tips that or things that I used when making this record. A big thing for me is I always put a ghost kick throughout my entire track, and if you don't know what a ghost kick is, basically it allows you to sidechain other components to the kick that runs throughout the entire track. But because it's muted, obviously you can't hear it. So regardless, so in this section here, for example, because I sidechained my bass line to my ghost kick, and it's just straight bass that's straight through, it's still sidechained, even though there's a gap there in the normal kick. So what I'll do is throughout the track, I'll try and sidechain the things that I'd like to against the ghost kick rather than the actual main kick. So if we actually come to the main kick now, if we listen to that, this is a kick that I've created myself, so this is a combination of about 3 kicks, so the sub, the mid and the high, and it's just a sound, and it's my specific kick that I like. Here, I've just EQ'd it a fraction, so I've rolled some of that bottom end out of it, partially because you don't hear it, and it just clears the mix up a little bit, but I've boosted it fractionally here, just so it pumps a bit through. Another tip that I use, I like a lot of older records, where they actually overcompress the kick a fraction. So just using the stock Logic vintage VCA, I've overcompressed the kick. So if I turn it off, you can see the difference between the two. It also makes it like hit a little bit at the top as well, and that's just something that I like. So as we work down, a lot of the drums that are in here, I use ES24, and I know on the new Logic, I think they've got rid of it. But what that allows me to do is I put components in, and it turns it into MIDI. So for example, on this one, it's like a closed hat. So it'll then allow me on my MIDI keyboard just to like type it out. So next, I think that the other big thing that sticks out in this record, there's one or two things really. It's the bass line and also the vocal. So if we just listen to just the vocal on its own. As we proceed to give you what you need. So there's actually not a lot to it. Again, just rolling off the bottom end just to clear the mix up a little bit, and just using the stock reverb of Space Designer. But I've used a little bit of automation here. As we proceed to give you what you need. But there's nothing too extravagant there. And then the other thing I think that sticks out most is my bass line. So the bass line goes like this. And a big tip that I have for bass lines is if you're struggling with them, a good friend of mine told me about putting bass amps on it. So basically what that allows you to do is boost everything around it, and it just makes your bass line sound a lot fatter. So on this one, again, it's just a stock Logic plugin of the Clear DL, and if I turn it off, there's not sub. And then I found that it just makes it punch more in clubs as well, which is nice as well. But apart from that, guys, there's actually not much more to the record, it's just the way that I've arranged it. But I like to think that it just shows that you don't have to have, 40 or 50 channels to make a song sound, thicker or whatever. But I hope this helps anyway, and thank you very much.